we kind of did our business ahead of, we're gonna have a few more speakers before we close out in prayer, but anyway, so My Constituents is a website that I think everybody in this room needs to go check out. It's pretty amazing what Mike has done, and you know, I didn't know who on earth he was, just have to say this little thing. I didn't really know who he was, but I have kept hearing about him from the folks in Faulkner County, and Jennifer introduced me to, and he just kind of fell in our laps, and we ended up on something together, and I just want to say what a blessing it's been to know you, Mike, and how great that's been, and how much we appreciate you, and Mark is working with him, and it's please go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, so I'd like to introduce you to probably the chief troublemaker in the room. Mike is an outstanding guy. I got a chance to meet him about 2 years ago. And a group of us from across the state, we started asking questions after the last election about how did this happen. And so Mike actually became like the chief researcher for this group. And a couple of weeks into the committee meeting, Mike shows up with an easel and a flip chart. Mike has documented the entire electoral process from the time that you register to vote to you cast your vote, the debacle with ES&S, and then the electoral certification of the votes. He documented the entire thing. So Mike starts flying around the country talking to anyone who will listen to him, elected officials, business leaders, or just anyone that knew about the electoral process. And so after he got through, he just kind of compiled all the data, invited a couple of us over to his house to just uncover the things that he'd found out. And one of the things that he really felt passionate about is that people, the constituents, don't have a great communication line with their elected officials. And the elected officials could only hear from so many people that could get down to the Capitol, make phone calls or text them. But what Mike came up with was a way for all of us to be able to communicate with our elected officials directly and for them to respond to us, but also for us to be able to do straw polls and say, hey, we really don't like the bill that you guys are trying to pass. We think you need to kick it back, rewrite it, and then let's look at it again. So a year and a half later, Mike has spent this entire time working with programmers to come up with a way for us to be able to do that, to be able to check your voter registration. But I really do have the privilege of introducing one of the finest gentlemen that I've had the pleasure of working with in the last several years, Mike Rasmussen.
Well, thanks for all staying. I only got a minute, so I got to do it really quickly. So you're right. I went to the gallery. I've met a lot of you before, but I went to the gallery a year ago to actually witness vote taking, because after Trump lost, I, in technology, being a CPA, and I'm an adjunct professor at UCA, was like something was wrong. I don't know if y'all felt that way, but I was like, started being angry. So I went to the gallery, I went to the top, and I'm all excited. At 11 o'clock in the morning, I look down, and I'm like, there's 34 bills, and I'm like, man, these guys are really good if they can read all the bills. So I looked down there, and at 11 o'clock, what I witnessed was they were playing Sudoku, solitaire, goofing around, joking. And I don't know about you, but I looked at the people next to me and goes, this is what goes on here? So I was sick. So I was like, okay. So I went afterwards, I went down, met a legislator with no one in the Capitol. I said, does anyone ever come down here? And he's like, no. You're like one in the last 5 people in the last 8 years. Just looks out the window, no one comes down here, and I'm not in here talking names or anything. But so then I just got really upset and just said, I'm gonna go across the country. And I've met everybody from Kerry Lake I've met so many people across the country, and it's the same thing. So I said, okay. So I went back and I said, I'm in technology and I fight the IRS every day. That's my day job, all across the country. And I said, I'm gonna create an app that I can go sit on that legislator's shoulder while they're voting, and I can read all the bills before when they go to vote at 34, they gotta pull up and go, this is what my constituents say. So that's all I did. And $50,000 later, I don't know how long it's taken me, you guys got on the app today and you broke it. Thank you. And I'm like going, oh my gosh. So you know what? I'm not going to stop. I was in there with Matt Gaetz, and basically I got to meet with him, and he spoke with his dad on the beach talking about the same darn thing. And it was just like, and I told him, and he's like, I saw your site. I love the myconstituents.ai. We went and hired programmers sitting in the front here with Donnie, and basically we figured out how to do an artificial intelligence to go in and read the bills and summarize it for you. So take away the excuses of the officials. You can sit there when they vote now, next session. So we're working really hard, March 5th, to get that done. So grab my card, I put my personal name, my number, and everything on the back of it, and I'm pleading with you, get off the bench. I was a person that Dad said, don't get involved, and he's 88 years old, and he basically, Korean War, and he said, you know what, I can even do this. I can actually now, when are you gonna get in California? Probably never, right? So, but at least we're going to start here in Arkansas, and actually I got invited from Mr. Gaetz and said, when you get it done here in Arkansas, you guys are the most fired up people. He gave us all a round of applause, and he said, come down, let's help Florida. So it was nice meeting y'all.